Hey, what's going on everyone, it's Flaming Collava here, and I just beat Persona 5 for the first time, and let me say that this is one of my favourite games of all time. I really enjoyed my time playing the game, and as I was playing the game, I thought that I might do a video on this game, on the channel, since I was really enjoying the game at this point, and I really wanted to talk about it. So in this video, I'll be ranking the palaces in Persona 5. Now do not worry, this video will not be including any spoilers on Persona 5 Royal, as I have not played that game, so I'll only be including the original 8 palaces. Also, yeah, obviously there will be Persona 5 spoilers in this video as well, so if you don't want spoilers for a 3-year-old game, then I suggest you don't watch this video. So anyways, without further ado, here's my ranking on every palace in Persona 5. Starting off this video, we have the worst palace in the game, being Okumura's palace. Now this palace has so many problems in it. First of all, this is probably the worst looking palace in the game, which is really unfortunate since this palace is set up in space and they really had a chance to make it look interesting. But instead they made it some grey splotch which doesn't look interesting or unique like some of the other palaces in the game. Then the enemy placement. My god, it's terrible. A lot of the enemies are placed in the worst places where you're basically forced to battle the enemies. Even risking your palace security level means nothing, because the enemies will easily catch up to you due to this palace having very narrow corridors. And not only that, but sometimes it's not even your fault that an enemy sees you, because you have no other choice. Then some of the puzzles are just boring and tedious to do, and then the boss fight. Oh my god, what a disappointing boss battle Okumura was. It was just battling robots and then taking out Okumura in 2 turns. It was an extremely disappointing boss battle, which is a real shame to make this palace even more worse. Next up, we have the final palace in the game, being Mementos, or Mementos Steps, or the Public's Palace, just whatever you want to call it. Now I really like the idea of the final palace being Mementos. It's a great idea and I really like it. Now this palace is nothing special, it's just a simple path followed by a kind of fun puzzle, but I'm cool with that since this is the final palace of the game. Now the Yaldabaoth boss battle is very interesting. I kinda like the idea of Eagle being the final boss battle, which explains that he was a fake since he had a different voice actor in the game as Yaldabaoth as opposed to the other Persona games. The Yaldabaoth boss battle was kind of hard, which makes sense since this is the final boss of the game, but overall it was decent, which is what I really have to say about this palace. It was just decent, that's really it. Alright, next we have Shido's palace. Now Shido is the main antagonist of Persona 5. And to be honest, this palace was just okay. The idea of it being a cruise ship was kind of interesting, but it wasn't anything cool or exciting. I think what makes me put this palace lower on the list has to be the mouse puzzles. Like yeah, I like that they're kind of interesting at first, but later it just feels like a chore to complete these. Plus there isn't a safe room till you beat the puzzle. Now definitely my favourite part of this palace is the Akechi boss fight. It's really cool to have a boss fight against Akechi just before you go to exit the palace and send a calling card. Plus it shows how messed up and insane Akechi is in reality after he reveals his true form. Other than that, the Shido boss fight was actually kind of difficult, plus it was the first time we heard Rivers in the Desert play in the game, so that's kind of neat. Coming up next, we have Madarame's palace. Now this palace is probably the easiest in the game and definitely the most straightforward. This palace is a museum which is actually kind of neat and is definitely very basic. That's not to say it's terrible or anything, but it just doesn't stand out as much as some of the other palaces in the game do. Heck, nor does Madarame as a character in my opinion. Now I do like the painting puzzle thing, and I also like how this palace kind of prevents you from doing a full day run as it's split into 2 days. Now the Madarame boss fight was incredibly easy thanks to the skill rampage which you have at this time, but this still is a decent palace nonetheless. Now we get into the best palaces in the game, and next we have Kaneshiro's palace. I really like the idea of Kaneshiro's palace being a bank. It's really cool and it makes you feel like you're an actual thief. Also this palace has an incredible theme since it gives off a hype feeling to it. And this palace gives you probably one of the most useful Phantom Thief members, being none other than Queen or Makoto. I really like her persona being a bike, she's a really great character. Is it also just me, or does this palace give off an Asian vibe? I don't know, it's probably just me, but anyways, the Kaneshiro boss fight is okay. I like how Kaneshiro has a massive pig robot, thing, but that's probably the best thing about the boss. Overall, this is a great palace and it's pretty fun. So here we are at the top 3 palaces in the game, the next one being Kamoshida's palace. Now this is the first palace in the game, and for the first palace in the game, it's amazing. First off, Kamoshida is one character that makes you really hate him as this chapter of the game goes on, and I love that. In reality, he acts like a teacher that cares for students, but then in the metaverse, you see that he's a complete opposite, treating his students horribly and being a pervert, if I have to be honest. I mean, you can kind of see that. Now, I love how big this palace is. It's really fun exploring the palace, even though it's kind of easy to get lost in this palace in my opinion. But it's just so much fun exploring the whole place. Now the Kamoshida boss fight was amazing. I really liked it and it was really fun. Plus seeing him suffer instead of the other characters in the end kind of brings satisfaction to the player, just because of how much the characters in the game hate him. The palace was a great start to an amazing journey that goes on ahead, and it deserves the number 3 spot on this list. The next palace is probably the most unique palace in the game, being none other than Futaba's palace. Now first off, Futaba is a character. She's probably my favourite phantom thief if I have to be honest. I love her cheeky personality and she receives a lot of character development in the game, which is something that makes me attached to a character in a piece of media, having continuous development as the story goes on. Futaba is also the most unique palace ruler because first of all, she doesn't have control over her palace unlike the other palace rulers, and she obviously is the only palace ruler that joins the Phantom Thieves. I really love how this palace focuses more on exploration and strategy for the puzzles. They are really fun to complete in my opinion, and the music of this palace is amazing. It shows how Futaba feels at the time, and as for the boss fight, it was eh. The Wakaba boss fight was kind of weird and it gets repetitive, but other than that, this is one of the best palaces in the game, and I really enjoyed this palace a lot. And the best palace in the game has to be none other than Nijima's palace. Now first off, the idea of a casino as a palace is really fun and an amazing idea. Now as for the palace itself, it's amazing. The palace has an incredible soundtrack and I like how you have to earn points to go further into the palace, as well as rig the games in order to win. It's a unique concept as this palace focuses on a gambling aspect instead of just going and defeating a bunch of shadows. Also, this palace was hinted at the beginning of the game, as when Joker gets arrested, it happens in this palace. And the Nijima boss fight was also pretty cool. It definitely isn't the best boss fight in the game, but it was good nonetheless. I don't have much to say about this palace, but this palace is definitely the best one in the game, and it was extremely fun to go through this palace. So yeah, that is today's video. Persona 5 was an incredible game and I loved the palaces in the game as well. While some were the dungeons were unique and they were really fun to go through. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.